Hello everyone. If you're new to this channel, first of all, please subscribe to my channel as I'll be coming up with a lot of new and interesting videos for you that'll benefit you. Since I come from a PMI background, I have a lot of other things other than resume talking for you, so stay tuned and subscribe. If you like this channel, do like it towards the end of this video. So let's get started. To talk about what we are going to take up today is how to make a resume that gets shortlisted for an interview like you see on the screen itself. So it's really important that you understand certain areas of resume making which will help you get through your interview rounds, especially when your screening for the first time is happening on any profile. So I'm not specifically today talking about project management operations. Any profile, whether you're a high school graduate, you are a postgrad, or you come from any background, it's really important that you understand some tips, do's and don'ts for your resume prep talk that I'm going to take it today. So without further ado, let's get started for our topic for today. Now, before I move forward, the first thing that I'm going to talk about here is what we are going to learn, why you should watch this video, and what benefit you're getting from it. So the first thing that we will talk about during this video is the do's and the don'ts. Now you might have come through these things a lot on the videos already available on the channels. There are a few generic ones, no doubt, which are repetitively you might have heard it, you might have gone through grooming sessions or videos, or you just know them. But it's really important that if you are serious about making your resume, you must follow or not follow certain things that I'm going to touch upon. Secondly, what you will know is what content helps you get the shortlisting. No doubt you might have revised it, you might know what your content is in your resume, but you must know how to present that first of all and what should or should not be there in the resume. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about use of the right keywords. Now keywords are important because when you're shortlisting resumes, I have been in a panel, I have already interviewed many candidates, and I have also been on the panel for shortlisting profiles. Since I come from a managerial background, so I have been through that. So the first thing that we look for is a keyword. The keywords that can be related to skill set, it can be something else that we are looking at in the profile. You must have those in your profile. We'll see how these are pulled out and how you should put them in your resume. Next, we will be talking about the current format and the correct format that you should use. So I would suggest you subscribe to the channel, put a comment out there for free resume towards the end of this video, and I would share with you free resume and cover letter. I'll be really happy to help you out there, so make sure you subscribe and get that free format. Right, so now let's talk about do's and don'ts, because these are few things which will make your resume either effective or non-effective. I'm not saying that if you don't do these things you won't get shortlisted, but if you do these things and follow these things, the chances of your shortlisting are far more better and higher. So let's see what are the do's. First thing, naming your resume file correctly. Now when I talk about that, the first thing that comes to my mind is, if someone would have told me a few years ago, I mean, let's say a decade ago, that your resume file naming has to be correct, I might have doubted that seriously, because I would have seen, oh, my file does have my name and my details, then why do I need to name them? The recruiter would know where the file is coming from. The idea here is not just the naming convention, it portrays that you're very casual or you're not casual in your approach, especially when you're applying for positions which are leaders, which are managers, or you're even assistant manager. Or I would say simply, if you're applying for a role and you want your recruiter to know that you're a serious person, you don't take things casually, then I think this is the best thing to portray, that you are a serious person and an organized one. So I would really suggest this as one of the do's that you should always do. I have given a format. The format that I'll provide you towards the end of this complete video, when you subscribe or you drop a message to me, with your email address if possible. Otherwise, I'll reach out to you and I'll send that to you. Should have all these things included. So you just have to rename and reformat and put your content and you're good to go. Right. So the next thing is keep important sections on the first page. For example, you have your objectives, summary, we'll talk about that. They should all go on the top. If you are an expert in, let's say, coding, PHP, or you are an AI expert, let's say AI is in the go these days and it's much talked about, so I'm taking an example. So let's say you're an AI expert. You ensure first that the job description you're applying for, you pick up the keywords and the key points from that job description, match them up with your skill set, and then put them on the top sections. Now you might get confused here, don't be, because this section, this part of the slide, this part of the video just talks about do's and don'ts. I will in detail carry out all these things in the upcoming part of the video, so stay tuned for that. So that's the second thing. Third one is you have an impressive resume header or a summary. So now you might think, oh, I do already have a summary, I do have a header, but what do you want to do? That's what recruiter wants to know. So generally when we put up a summary, we say have 15 years of experience in so and so field, have done this, have done that. Good. That is already what your resume talks about. Your header or your objective is supposed to define what you want out of the recruiter, what you want to do now, because you're applying for a position in current. You're not talking about your past. Whole of your resume will actually talk about your past, your education, your skill set that you have already gained, and your you know certifications, experience. All you talk about is your past, but your objective, your summary is something which is your present or future. So the recruiter would love to see something like an objective which talks about what you want to do, why are you applying, what's your inclination in your future career, right? So it's a growth path, it's not just one thing, it's a milestone in your journey. You have to understand that first and portray it likewise. The next part is showcase your technical skills as well as your non-technical skills. Please be aware, emotional intelligence, empathy, there are areas which were not valued earlier, if you say like 7 years, decade ago, but believe me, these days they are really important. So we have moved out of technical shortlisting to some extent in the screening round to something like prometric, something which involves emotions. So it's really important that you do that. So second part is when you see this, your skills and both the skills, technical, non-technical, they both should not be staggered across the resume. They have to be in their zone, so they have to be in the section, and you make sure that you are lining them up as technical and non-technical. If you're blending them in, there is a way, I'll let you know towards the end, but make sure that you have both of them, because that's how human beings work. You have technical skills, but you're a human being, you're dealing with humans, so you should know your stronger side, emotional side, that takes you apart and makes you different from others. Use multicolor resume. Now you might think we are not applying for advertising. If you are, obviously you would have some fancy one, or a graphic designer if you are, but if you are applying for something like a manager position, you might think, oh, do I need to have one? Well, you don't have to have a fancy resume out there with multiple colors, just two colors. So one normal text and the other one might be a tone blue, royal blue or something that can highlight your important areas, maybe just the headings or specific your specific goals, or something like your email address, you have done something great and you want to showcase that. Now how to put that through is again a game changer, and we'll do that together. Don'ts. First thing, like when I spoke about the naming convention, don't use a casual approach. If you use something like that, it shows you're casual. So the first thing is when you're building your resume, starting from the name till you conclude it in the remarks and references, make sure you don't have a casual approach, because that reflects in your resume. Don't make mistake of one page resume, as you must have, let's say, 10 years of experience. How would you cover all your great areas, great work done in one page? You might be able to, but if you have worked on capital projects, bigger projects, you have a lot of achievements, I would always suggest that you put at least 2 pages of resume. If it takes more than 1 page, it goes to 2.5 or 3. Better put it there than not. Don't make spelling mistakes, please. Make sure you proofread your resume. It's a very common thing. Generally, we take things for granted because we work on our resume for years and sometimes for the months, and then we keep on updating that with the different profiles that we apply for. And ultimately, what happens is put the major small, 2, 4, sometimes they're wrong. 1, use spell checker. If you still miss it out, make sure you proofread. Sometimes your sentence framing might be wrong. I'm not asking you to use tools to do this spell check. It's a very simple thing. Just read 2 pages is not much. Don't miss the references, please. That's always a good idea to put at least 1 or 2 references at the end, and the current ones, not your friends, professional references. They are always welcome. If you are recent grad, make sure you have your professors or your someone from university who knows you, or your internship mentor, anyone who knows you professionally. If you don't have experience at all, as I said, someone from your grad school should be all good. Please don't put your friends in, because that's not very good idea. It looks very casual and it's not professional at all. Don't have hobbies and extracurricular at the start of or mid, please. I would rather say it's not needed. But your extracurricular achievements sometimes are really good to have. If you, let's say you have won a tournament at a district level or a province level, then definitely yes, you should put them up, but please not in the start, maybe in the end, and that too if your pages permit that. If the length is already too much, I would suggest not to put them, please. So let's move to the next section. So now we are going to talk about content tips. I'm not going to get too much into detail because I'm there to help you for your resume. I'm giving you the format as well towards end. So we'll just talk about quick tips that you should do. They are must to haves. Okay. The first one is relevance to the job description. Please don't take recruiters and HR from the different places for granted. Even if you're applying for the same role, still there are differences in the job description and requirements sometimes from the employers. Make sure you read them. Amend your resume as per the job description. Now, I'm not saying copying and pasting. Please do not do that. Understand what is required. See your resume. If it already has that, well and good. If you think there is something in the job description that you have and it's missing for your resume or can be improvised, please make sure you add them in. And the second important point here is when you're looking for keywords in the job descriptions. For example, if you're looking for skills on Jira, or a tool, let's say, let me take some other, I'm coming from an IT, project management and construction management, so sometimes I'll give the same examples, but let's say you're looking for any tool. Let's say you're looking for a Photoshop, okay, but they are asking you to have Photoshop skills for a particular version, latest version, let's say, and number of experience in that. You make sure that you check them and you amend your resume likewise. If you have less experience than required, make sure you portray your projects that cover up at least the skills that are needed, so that when someone looks at your resume and tallies it with the job description they are hiring you for, they should know that even if you have lesser experience, you still have relevant job experience. Sometimes you get shortlisted with your skill set, not just with experience, but with your skill set only. So make sure that you are confident on what you have on your resume, and when you're applying, you're not casual. Just read the job description, make sure it's there for. Like I said, highlight your experience, what is asked for. You might have, I'm not saying that don't put all the experience, please do that, but you need to highlight. If you remember in the last part of the video, previous one, we were talking about color coding. That's where it comes in. So if you have done extremely good in the experience that they have asked for in the job description, I would suggest you put that and highlight it in different color or maybe bold. That particular sentence or a word, that is never harm. It always helps to get highlighted. Okay. Ensure key skills required are on the first page and summary. So the key skills are the keywords that they're looking for. Project manager, PMP, um, maybe a graphic designing course or something. Like if you are, let's say, from Python, so Python and other coding languages maybe. Okay, again, I'm giving examples from IT, I'm so sorry, but I hope you got the idea. So your skills, whatever profile you're applying for, the key skills required are on first page and the summary. Okay, and they should match with job description. Make sure the key skills and the keywords are repeated 2 to 3 times throughout your resume in different formats. Now, again, don't get confused. Please feel free to drop me a message, write to me at ediblesforyou@gmail.com, and I would make sure I respond to you. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me and talk to me. I can help you build your resume. Don't fit one resume for all, it never helps. You need to modify with each application, even if it's a single line application modification. Or you sometimes you feel, oh, it's 100% matched, no problem, go for it, but at least check it once before you apply. Just don't go for it. Sometimes we even have cover letters with half changes, and then you make everything changed, you change everything, and sometimes you leave the address from a previous employer and you apply to someone else. There are cases which I have seen myself. So casual approach and just taking it for granted would never help. So you will just lose an opportunity. Again, cover letter, the last one here for the tips. Make sure you have one, especially when you're applying for more than 4 years of experience. And if they are asking for cover letter, never miss that out, even if it's optional in the requirement. It shows your crux in just one page, even half a page. Okay, cover letter should never exceed more than one page. I would rather say leave some space on the top and bottom because your address would go on the top. I have the template with me, I'll share it with you so that you don't have to look around. But make sure you have a cover letter. It does not take much of time, honestly. It's hardly 10 minutes job, but it shows your seriousness and it shows your professionalism. Now the bigger question, what is the correct format? Now believe me, I've been building my resume, amending them for years, because I have more than 15 years of experience. So I know that when it comes to correct format, sometimes there are questions around, does this format work in every country or for Canada? I'm calling from Canada. I'm here from Canada. So Canadian format is obviously different. You move your places and your format would change. Your requirements would change. The people who look at it will change, right? So you should know your correct format. So you must have a relevant objective. Now this objective, obviously you know what you're doing. Your objective has to match with the objective of employer, and your professional summary should talk about all the job description highlights. That's really important. See, you might be thinking that I'm talking about the content. Believe me, how fancy you build a format. If you don't do these things, these are the keys for a good format. Now, based on your location, when you drop me a message and subscribe to my channel, you would just get a response from me and I'll give you the format based on your country location. Okay, because that differ. So in Canada, if you're from Canada and you want it for the Canadian employers, please let me know in the chat box or in my email address. You can drop me an email, but please make sure you give some likes and subscribe to my channel so that I can help you more and more in the upcoming time, because that's one of the requests that I have put forward to give you the free template. I have worked a lot on it, so please do that. That will be really a grateful thing that I can ask for. Using keywords like I have been talking about and skills at multiple places of the resume is really important. And finally, your skills and experience on page 1. Don't put in page 2, you put something else on top. If you have multiple certifications, I have 8 of them. So if you are that big on your resume, they should go along with your education. But before that, I would say, okay, your skills, certification, experience, and then education. Like I said, there's no customized single customization for each person. It has to be customized every time for every employer and for everybody. Make sure you leave a comment, get everything that I have in my knowledge for resume. I have really worked hard on putting that together for you. So make an effort, subscribe, talk to me, and drop me an email. I hope to see you soon, and all the best for your future applications. Thank you.